said before that you were a skinny little kid trying out judo, but you're not known for being skinny. I mean, you look incredible. You look better than me, and I'm 35. So, where or when did you find out bodybuilding or trying to lift some weights? Was it when you became a bouncer, or did you already start lifting weights before you had become a bouncer?
No, you know what? My first introduction to weight training was from my father, and my dad died when I was 13. He was, Dad's been dead a long time. He died in 1962, but I do remember him. My mum told me he knocked himself around a little bit when he was younger, drank a bit, all that sort of business. But he got into weight training, and he had just a one single barbell. And I remember him showing me curls and stuff like that. And this is, again, when I was 9 and 10 years old. And he also used to take me to the wrestling. We had world championship wrestling, and people wouldn't remember a lot of the people I remember, like Killer Kowalski, and, there was some amazing wrestlers. And I remember being intrigued just with the idea of being more muscular and bigger, just because I was so skinny.
Hmm.
And so he introduced me. In fact, I remember him bringing this guy called Georgie Wade, who was apparently the first Victorian bodybuilding champion. Now, again, this is a long time back. I'm talking about like 1960, for goodness sakes.
Hmm.
So I was already aware of the idea of weight training. And I, back then, even in the 60s, I used to get Weeder magazines, which
Oh
was,
yeah.
and being introduced to people like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and even before that, and Steve Reeves, who was played Hercules. And I would see pictures of these guys and just go, oh, wow, this is amazing. So my introduction to lifting weights was really through Weeder magazines, and weight training, how to put on weight. Back those days, their advice was you just drink lots of milk and things like that. We didn't have the sophistication of all the supplements and everything they do today. But I literally started weight training when I was 10 or 11. And when this friend who actually introduced me to judo, we had similar sort of interests, thankfully. And he set up a little gym in his house then, a little squat rack and some barbells and everything. And of course, again, they were quite crude back then. So we started lifting. And so weight training still to this very day, I'm 70 years of age now. And still, one of the most important fitness things that I do is progressive resistance training, meaning weightlifting, because it's held me in good stead ever since I was 11 years old all the way through. And I gradually put on a little bit of muscle when I just naturally had a very high metabolism,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
I realized the advantage and the benefits of weight training as a bit of a supplement to my martial arts training. Like, I never wanted to be a bodybuilder
Hmm.
or anything, but I realized the strength I could get in my shoulders and my delts for punching power, triceps, having a strong core, having strong legs for kicking. I realized how advantageous that was, and I did not ever buy into this adage that weight training, for instance, slows you down, because I read about an Olympic weightlifter, Vasilev, back in the day. He was a powerful Russian weightlifter, and I read about him being as fast as an Olympic sprinter over, say, I'm talking meters, like a 10-meter
Hmm.
sprint. Not, he
The
couldn't last,
explosive, yeah.
100 meters or whatever. But as far as explosive speed, and that was due to his powerlifting and going from negative to positive, even as far as lifting weights and everything, and how much fast twitch fiber that would develop and explosiveness. And I thought, well, that's perfect for martial arts. I mean, everything we do it's kind of like going from a positive to a negative as fast as you can, and having extra strength and power. I thought, how could that not make me stronger and better and faster as a martial artist? And that's proved true. In fact, speed's always been my attribute with karate and punching in general. So I, of all people, would not be lifting if I thought that interfered with my speed. But the opposite is true. It actually helps. It's anaerobic in nature when you lift properly. When I do weight training, I'll do a reasonably slow, negative, concentric contraction, but quite explosive on the positive aspect, which is the same way as drawing a punch back or a kickback. So weight training is absolutely, it's still, as I said, if I don't lift, I just don't feel like the same person. And if I had to pick one fitness routine, even including martial arts, if I could only do one thing to remain healthy, I'm not talking about fighting ability, it would be progressive resistance training, as in lifting weights.
That's incredible because you were finding out in the 60s about cross training, which people do nowadays, and it took so long for people to believe. And I know that still, even when I was younger in the 90s or something, or early 2000s, I saw a lot of martial artists. The most that they would do with external weights would be grab those little dumbbells and do some sort of shadow boxing with it, or grabbing bricks and running with bricks. And I was like, okay, that's old school. That's cool. That's mentally tough to do. And I like that toughness. I like that old school type of Jackie Chan, drunken master workout and stuff. But I mean, you're not gonna go as far as you could go if you actually had a weightlifting routine.